I got married,
Okay.
and my daughter does not seem to get along with my wife.
So we're here in the matter of Camp Heist versus Teachout, case number 212-009444 DC. Let's deal with the easiest one first. You both received this recommendation, Ms. Teachout. You're the objecting party. Your first objection is that the child doesn't graduate till May of 2030, correct?
Correct, yes.
Mr. Camp Heist, any comment on that? I
No,
mean,
we
you know
already,
this child
yeah,
better than I do. And
yeah,
if she graduates early, you just let us know.
yeah, we already
We
agreed
won't,
to
but
that.
yeah.
That was totally understandable and totally acceptable. Yep.
Yes, famous last words. My sister graduated like a semester or two early, and that was not anticipated. She just
Yeah.
got all the work done and she was bored and she said, I'm done.
Yeah.
So you never know. I mean, you could say that she won't graduate early and maybe she does.
Right.
Or maybe it takes a little extra time because something happens.
Mm-hmm.
So in any event, we'll get it to the 2030. That's the easiest one.
Yep.
All right. Ms. Teachout, what do you believe the overnights are?
Well, this year for 2024, it's only been 4 overnights total, and then it's been 0 since March.
Okay, what's going on, Mr. Campice? What is your opinion of what the parenting time is?
Uh, it's Mckenna was here in April, the night
Okay.
before Easter.
Okay.
But the situation we have going on, I mean, just it is what it is. I got married,
Okay.
and my daughter does not seem to get along with my wife, and it's
Sorry about that.
it's very frustrating. It's very hard, and I'm trying to be the best dad I can be and still
Right.
spend time with my daughter
Okay.
and support her where I can and where I,
Well, what I will tell you is anything from 1 to 70 generally does not do much on the guidelines. And mathematically speaking, what they want is nobody to argue over every other weekend, 2 or 3 weeks in the summer, every other holiday. So it's kind of mathematically carved out.
right.
So if I put you at 30 or 40 or 50, it's probably going to be the same amount. It's based 99.9% on your income at this point. Her
Okay.
income's not even relevant to the equation. This is why a lot of people get upset with the front of the court when they look at the payer and say, I need to know to the nickel what your income is. And then they look at the payee and say, so about what do you make?
Right.
Because mathematically it's mostly on you. So they want to make sure we get it right.
So I do have one question regarding
Sure.
the overnights. I am not objecting overnights. I want my overnights. I
Right.
want my every other weekend. That's not the problem. The problem is we're having an issue with. I mean, I think first, I think Brianna's a great mom. Okay, but we're having issues with the enforcement of, hey, this is your father's weekend. You need to go with your dad.
Right.
And
Well, you have the right to apply for the front of the court to the parenting time show cause, and they can help you.
right.
There, you get so Brianna, so that you understand this too. The front of the court has a division that does show cause hearings if you're not paying child support. That's pretty easy. Child support's done by a computer. We know when it's not being paid.
Mm-hmm.
The court has no idea when parenting time's not being utilized. Okay.
Right. Yeah,
they have certain rules about it.
Yeah. My daughter, our daughter, she's 13.
Right.
And she, there's been a couple times where Dan has, said, can I pick her up this weekend? And I said, that's between you and her. Like,
no, it's not.
She doesn't want to go. I can't make her go.
Again, it does not matter. Does she want to go to school? Because you have to make her go to school. This is a court order that both of you have to comply with.
Right. But there was a CPS investigation the last time she was over
And
there.
when was that?
March 29th was the last time she went over there.
Did that substantiate or not substantiate?
I'm not sure.
It was
I just know that.
Okay. Bottom line, that's what the parenting time show cause thing does, because we haul in people for not paying child support. And when they explain, here's my letter of disability, there's a reason they're not paying. They're not held in contempt. Okay. So in other words, he can apply to say you're refusing. They have the right to then contact you and say, what's the explanation?
I've never refused though.
Well, I understand that, but what
Not
you're
once.
telling me is you're letting the child run the show and she's 13.
Well, he hasn't shown up to pick her up. He stopped taking her in November 2022.
That's what the parenting time division can help you with. They try to meet with you. They don't haul you into court right away. They try and mediate this between the two of you, because you do have a court order for parenting time. That is the court order. The court will enforce it at some point.
Right.
If
And
you
he
haven't
hasn't
utilized
practiced.
it, if you haven't utilized it in a few months, sir, we're not going to hold her in contempt for you not doing it.
No, and
But what we
and
would do is we would reset the playing board and say, from here, here's how we're going to go forward. And the parenting time show cause division can help both of you with that, to reset the playing board to get this back on its normal course.
and
Okay.
I have had that conversation with the friend of the court to reset
Okay.
this, and I knew this was going to happen, so we said let's just wait
But
and let's
we're just here for child
Yep, yep.
support. The parenting time issue, again, none of this is in the file.
Okay.
To the court's knowledge, the court presumes that the court orders in the file are being followed. There's a court order for parenting time. I was trying to figure out, because child support's based on what you actually do, not what the court orders say. The court order for parenting time is a separate issue that needs to be enforced in a separate event.
Okay.
I'm just trying to tell both of you how this works, that both of you are on the same page. It's not easy for either party. The court does not have a choice till the child turns 18 about trying to do something about parenting time. It gets more and more frustrating the older the child gets. But the law presumes that parenting time will be accomplished by both parents.
And that's what I was told too, is that Brianna and myself both need to co-parent together. When it's my weekend,
Correct.
she needs to enforce Mckenna.
Correct. And maybe what you need to do is start it slow and say, Mckenna, why don't you come over for a Saturday afternoon? Let's work on this.
Yep. And
Start her slow.
we have been doing that, and things have been progressively getting better. But
Good.
and there's no rhyme or reason, but in defense to it, it was like, hey, I needed to let things settle down, get McKenna back to a comfortable place before I just bring her.
And that's what you should do, and that's what people would try to help you guys with. It's not that I'm going to jumpstart and say you're getting next weekend because that's your weekend, and I, I'll damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. That's not what we're going to do, because I'm not going to force a 13-year-old. What I am going to say is I have to encourage the 13-year-old and remind all of parties that parenting time is a court order that needs to be complied with. The question is how and what's in the best interest of the child and the way to make that happen.
Right.
Because we're going to be here until she's 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I prefer to you guys parent the child, not me.
Yeah.
But if I have to get draconian, then I do. And I don't, sometimes
No,
that's not the best thing to do. So I'm trying to set both of you on this because there is a court order. I suggest you read it, work with the child, and get it back to speed. What I'm going to do is set the parenting time at about 50 overnights, because again, that's about midway. Eventually, I'm going to presume that parenting time is going to continue and going to get back on track. If it doesn't, like I said, anything from 1 to 70 generally does not change the child support all that much. I'm trying to explain to you guys the way to work this out.
Yep.
I'm not making any ruling on parenting time. I can't. The only thing we're here for is child support. The reason I spend time with the parties is to see if I can prevent you from having to come back to court if at all possible.
Yeah.
I'd prefer you not waste your time and money. If you need to, that's great. But if I can answer some of your questions at a session like this informally, then maybe I can guide you so that you follow what the court would more than likely do.
Yeah. I mean, you've answered my questions, and I appreciate the.
Well, it's a heads up. It's just like, this is the law and that's the way it's going to go. Ms. Teachout, do you have any questions? The best part, Ms. Teachout, is you can always look at your daughter and blame me.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I'm the faceless jerk that has to enforce the court orders.
yeah,
So
no,
if you need to blame me, you blame me.
Yeah, no, she's been in counseling because it's been a struggle since her dad, first 11 years, her dad was her number one, and then he met this girl and he moved an hour away.
Yeah, and that's,
She's struggling really bad. She goes to counseling a lot,
new families happen. I take it you
I
haven't had that
know.
happen yet. Have you had somebody,
I got married 3 years ago. And
and the court can't prevent you guys from getting remarried. The only thing the court would be concerned of is if the person you marry has a CSC background or some background harming children or something, then I've got a question. But we presume that you're going to make the choices in the best interest of your children, and the psychological fallout is going to be the psychological fallout. I nursed my father through 3 marriages and 3 divorces, and I lived with all the stepmoms. So, it's not easy. Been there, done that. It is what it is. But we've got to get the child in counseling, work their way through this. Whatever you have to do, Daniel, then you need to do it to re-establish that relationship with your daughter. You had it at one time, and she feels aggrieved. Well, and she feels aggrieved. You also have the right, by the way, to be at any of those events when it's mom's weekend. The events are public. So in other words, you know, a public event is a public event. If you want to show that you're interested in your daughter's life, you show up. You know, I've been to many football games where you start off the season wearing shorts and a t-shirt and sweating.
Yep.
And at the end of the season, you're wearing thick clothing and you're getting rained on that's icy. So it's, you know, you just sit in the stands, you do it.
I have one last question. I apologize.
Sure.
With the 50 overnights, is that pretty much every other weekend? Is that the breakdown of that?
That's pretty much the breakdown. But like I said, there's a lot of leeway there. I'm only setting it at that because I'm assuming you're going to start getting regular parenting time eventually.
Yeah, because when this first
take your time, get it back up to speed. And like I said, if I take it from anywhere from 1 to 70, it's probably not going to matter all that much. 136, the typo was a drastic change. So, but again, that was a typo and that was neither one of your fault. Neither one of you asked for that.
I was very confused.
Sometimes we do get confused. It's okay. And that's very rare, I'll tell you, for Miss Bowen to do a typo. So I think this is the first one I've seen in
well, it didn't matter because either way, the graduation year needed to change. So
yeah, one way or the other. So in any event, any other questions, Miss Teachout? I want to give both of you the opportunity. Take care and take care of your daughter and enjoy the sports and enjoy her life. You only have 4 more years. And once she starts dating, that gets cut off even more.
Yeah.
God help both of you. All right. Well, I knew my 14-year-old was at home when her bedroom door was closed.
Yeah.
So
yes.
That's pretty much it.
Yep.
And she's 24 now, and that's when I know she's home.
Yeah.
She's downstairs right now. So in any event, take care, ladies and gentlemen. I try to use those experiences to maybe help you because it's not easy, but the law does presume certain things. Okay.
Thank you for your time very much.
Have a great day. Take care.
Bye.